Throughout this module, we are going to take a look at typography in Skeleton. Skeleton uses rem units for font sizing. Rem, or root EM, is a way of sizing fonts based on the value of the font size property placed on the root element. Now, by default, one rem unit is equal to the font size of the HTML element. If unspecified, that usually means it's 16 pixels, as that is the default value for most browsers. If you visit the Skeleton CSS file, however, the font size property on the HTML element is set to 62.5%, which is equal to a base 10 pixel size. Now, if we want to modify this, we can either do it here or copy and paste it into our main CSS file. Now, before I save this, let's look at what the current type looks like in terms of the font size in a browser. Okay, we'll go back. We'll change this to, let's say we want everything to appear larger, to 80%. We'll save, and then go back, and everything has increased just slightly. Now, as it stands with the type we currently have on the site, no font sizes change based on the viewport width. Should you want a way to control the font sizing based on media queries, we can simply adjust our CSS like so. Come down here, we'll put in at media, max width, 400 pixels, and we'll reference our HTML font size property to 80%. Let's remove this role setup here. We'll save it, and we'll go back to our browser. And now we can see that it's back to the regular size. However, if we bring this in, you'll see at a certain point, everything will increase right there. Now, of course, when you adjust the font size of the HTML element, it will affect the font size of all type that is specified in M or rem units. So if this result is unwanted, you can simply use media queries to set the sizing of specific type elements themselves. So for instance, if we go back to our HTML, let's go ahead and define our logo type here. So we'll put in a link, ahref, and it won't go anywhere. We'll give it an ID that we can later reference of logo. And our fictional project is going to be named good. And we're going to pass in a span so that we can change the color of the next word, which is eats. All right, so let's save this and see what the result looks like currently in the browser. Okay. Now in our main CSS file, let's get rid of the underline of this anchor text as well as slightly increase the font size. We'll reference header A, text decoration none, and font size 1.8 rem units. So we'll save and go back to our browser, and it has slightly increased as you can see. However, this is currently overwriting, so let's go ahead and get rid of that menu text real quickly. We'll fill this in later. Okay, so now going back to our original point about adjusting the font size of specific elements, we can do so just as a demonstration with our new logo element. So if I bring everything in, we'll see that once we get to that certain size, everything goes up in size. Well, let's go ahead and change it so only the logo does. We'll go back to our main CSS, and inside of our media query this time, we'll simply reference our header A, font size. We're going to take it from 1.8 to 3 rem units. So we'll go ahead and save, and then back in the browser, we'll see once we come in, not just that element is affected. Okay, so we don't really want this behavior for their project, so we'll go ahead and simply just remove it. All right, so now that we know how font sizing works, we're going to take a look at headings and paragraphs and also begin to add type to our layout.